what I'm going to try and do is very briefly sketch in the last year for us, because once again I find the joy of writing my report to the trustees on this annual occasion just amazing. I'm not a great one for administration or meetings or reports or anything, but what a joy it is to think back, look back through the diary, look back through my year's journal for the Via Beata and see what God has done. It's incredible. And whereas often when I give my report, I have done so geographically, as it were, with the map up here behind us, this year I want to do it chronologically so that we can see the progress that's happened this past year. Adam has prepared all these amazing pointers for us, and they're a good size, Adam, because we can really see what's going on here, and so many people have been part of this. But the joy for us is the growing family that we are part of. The Lord's people are just wonderful, and to meet them, whether it be in Wales or in East Anglia or right in the Midlands, we find such a welcome, such a heart-to-heart recognition of the life that God has put inside us. It sparkles through people's eyes. Wonderful. Just briefly brushing in what's happened this last year. Probably first of all, after our last Via Beata weekend, in May, we installed a bench at the Talbot Inn, which is
near the helicopter.
Just by the way, yes. After our last trip, I was emailing Tim, one of our trustees, wherever he is, Tim with the hair, and I said, we could. I think when we next have a trustees meeting, I'm going to ask for a helicopter. So what did Tim do? He went to Poundland and found a helicopter for me. So here it is, the Via Beata helicopter. And I think I'm going to sign write it with the logo, and we can have it dangling there. Wouldn't it be wonderful? Because this is, I'm not a great one for driving around the place, and I get a bit sleepy at the wheel. But the Lord has watched over us, and this last trip we've just had a wonderful time. I've discovered a very simple formula for solving the problem. I always fall asleep after lunch, so we don't have any lunch. It's as simple as that, isn't it? So but we make it up for it with a wonderful breakfast. So that's been great. So anyway, in May, here it is, the Talbot Inn. We've got a way station. I can't tell you all these stories, they're just so wonderful, but rather long. We've been here until midnight, but a wonderful welcome we've had at the Talbot Inn. Biddy and Laurie found the place first and got talking about what they were doing, and the lady who is one of the owners of the thing said, "We'll have a way station here." So we made a carved bench for them, which went in place last May. We had a wonderful celebration. Okay, so anyway, that was May. In June, we had the joy of meeting with True Faith Missions team at Lowestoft, and they set out. I'd like to read to you a wonderful article on the back of the. In fact, I noticed, Dan, you've got some copies of this on the table over there, the Via Beata newsletter. I must read this to you, because this just illustrates again how God is on the case. And this is a chap well, I'll read it to you. His name is Jack Quinn. I don't know him. Don't think I met him, did I? No. Okay, so this is headed Walk the Way, a personal reflection. It was a normal Sunday morning in April when I saw a promotional video about an event called Walk the Way. The moment I watched it, I knew this was for me. Then in June, I visited Wales and unwittingly stumbled across the Via Beata. I learned that this was the route being used for Walk the Way, and so being aware that the first teams were starting soon, I thought it apt to walk from the most westerly point of the route at St David's Head to St David's to prepare the way with prayer. On my return home to Suffolk, I then felt compelled to travel to the most easterly point, Lowestoft. I will never forget climbing over the sea defence wall and seeing 4 men dressed in blue through Faith Mission's uniform, right there at the foot of the steps, just starting their journey. It felt like a clear God incident and confirmed to me that it was time to go for it. 7 weeks later, there I was in Hay-on-Wye with nothing but my backpack, enough cash to to allow £6 a day, and no phone for the first time in 17 years. I felt free. I must fess up that my main worry was the dynamics of a bunch of blokes who had never met, spending 7 days together, but I can't put into words the unity I experienced that week. We were a true band of brothers, and it reminded me of Jesus' command to his disciples. A new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. This love looked like carrying one another's burdens, both practically and emotionally together, forming a spontaneous boy band. One passerby actually asked where we would be performing next, singing out loud our faith and hope in Jesus together, roaming across the countryside together, encouraging local church leaders together, sharing light moments together, sharing deep moments together. The week changed my life. I had a new confidence inside to share my faith, even if in small ways. Perhaps you are reading this and are thinking, yeah, okay, that's great for you, but fill in the blank. I feel like you. I know that voice myself, and now I wonder how much I have missed out on over the years. For me, this feels like the start of something exciting, and I don't want to miss out anymore. So will you join me out there on the mission, sharing our faith, sharing this adventure together? Isn't that lovely? And just, it's God, isn't it? The way, I remember actually the team from Lowestoft telling us about that chap who just appeared over the wall when they were, I think they were probably gathering seawater for the trail. But anyway, that was June. We were able to walk a bit with the Fruit of Faith Missions folks, and I would tell you some of the funny things that happened. We haven't got time. But that's when they set out. From both ends, the team set out and began walking their way across the trail, sharing the gospel at every occasion and taking the most of every opportunity. August for us was a great moment when we installed on the south of here at Lowestoft a sculpture for which we have been negotiating for something like 10 years. And hey, it's there. And we put it there in August. And then in September, we had a wonderful commissioning service with a band, a brass band on the pier, and so many people gathered for that event. I had the joy of preaching the gospel to all the folks there. It was just an amazing occasion. So anyway, through September we did a trip down into Wales, not right to the far end. We put in place a sculpture at a place called, which we've been calling Llangamarch Wells, but the Welsh call it Llangamach Wells. And we've been working on that as a team here for I'm not sure how long. It was lovely to put that in place. That is, I think that's it there. Is that one? Yeah. And then we then met with some people at what any English person would pronounce as Llanwrted well, but is actually Llanuted well. And we're hoping to put a sculpture there. There's a sort of Christian hub that meets in that town, and they've got a blank wall where their building used to be joined on to something else and is no longer, and they want a sculpture on that wall. So we're hoping to do another stainless steel piece on there. We then came back to Eggleton, which is this one, back into Herefordshire, and we are actually, Biddy and Laurie have just been down there rerouting the routes to include Eggleton, and we're hoping to put a sculpture in the church there, in the church porch actually. Once again, it's a long process putting something in an Anglican church, but as many of you will know, but the process means that it's there for, relatively permanent. So, it's got a positive side as well as a negative one. From there we came back to Coat, which is here. And if you see that artwork at the back there, by the window, I don't know whether you've had a chance to look at that earlier on. It won't work at the moment because it's dark, but when the light is coming through the window, there's, by the power of amazing smoke and mirrors, you can look through the eye of the sheep and see a scene with the shepherd leading his flock. And that's a piece we made some time ago actually, and with the team here, just on spec really. We were actually thinking it would go somewhere else, but in the end that didn't happen. But there's at Walthamcote there is a redundant church. It's in a village that was a plague village, and it just stands on its own, and only a few cottages in that locality, but it's right on the trail, and people use it as a regular place to visit. It's been taken over by the Church's Conservation Trust, which means we don't have to get a faculty. It's much simpler, and we got permission to put it in there quite quickly, and so we're going to make an oak stand for that, and then it's going to go against one of the south windows in that church, and walkers use it as a place of sleeping overnight and all that sort of thing. So that'll be a perfect place for that. Now the other sculpture to talk about is, you probably noticed this over here, this sculpture there with the verse from the end of Revelation, and a little group of people looking through the window. It's a lovely piece and has been at Kirkley. I won't tell you the full story of that, but we brought it back, and Jackie, one of the team who's sitting right back there, she's the one with the red face, did a wonderful job of restoring that over the last, 6 weeks probably, repainting all the lettering and doing the gilding, so it's really looking lovely, and that's waiting to go back. We're hoping to get permission to put it in the churchyard at Kirkley. It's been elsewhere up until now. In November we were at the Christian Arts Retreat Movement Conference at Swanwick. I was speaking there, and that was a wonderful occasion. Some very interesting connections made during that time. December, we had the joy of having Ray and Elizabeth Hunter come and meet with us. They're an amazing couple. He's a retired naval commander. She, I've discovered today, used to be the Lord Lieutenant.
High Sheriff.
Oh, the High Sheriff, okay.
Herefordshire.
That sort of thing, of Herefordshire. Lovely Christian couple, and they want to pursue they contacted us because they said, look, you've got no way stations in Herefordshire, can we do something about that? And so they came and stayed with us for a weekend. We showed them around, we showed them a way station, and typical naval commander Ray said, so what's the procedure then, Steve? And so we're actually giving them, and they're the people, by the way, who provided us with the Herefordshire apple juice for our meal. Ray and Elizabeth are going to pursue the Via Beata trail for us in Herefordshire. Now that is great. The more people we get on board like that, the better. Because obviously we're only a small team here, and it's a long way to go right across the country like this and supervise things. So that'll be interesting to see how that develops. Earlier this year, in February, Jill and I did another trip across to, the other thing I should say is in September we did meet with Through Faith Missions for their celebration. They finished up right in the middle here at the Red Hill Centre, and that was great to be with them all for that celebration at the end of their Walk the Way trail. There were some amazing testimonies, I can tell you, and great rejoicing. Jill and I did another trip in February. We went right down to the end, to St David's. We visited Llangammoch Wells again. We stayed there. There's a lovely couple there with a campsite. And once again, we visited Llanuted Wells to talk through a design, sort of rough design that we had for that sculpture there. We also visited a couple across there in a place called Penland, I think how you pronounce it, which is there, that one. A wonderful couple. He is an evangelist who goes around with a cross on his shoulder, big cross. Wonderful chap. And when we first met him, he used a tenor voice, and he's very Welsh. And he sang over us in tongues. It was just glorious. Well, I think it was that and not Welsh, I'm not sure. It was just a joy to have that, and the Lord just ministered to us through that. But anyway, his wife is an artist, painter, beautiful landscape painter. And she's got a gallery there, and the public come and visit the gallery. And they're going to have a way station right next to the gallery. It's just perfect. So we're just waiting for them to give us the sense of what they want the sculpture to say. And then from there we went onto the coast there to meet a chap called Paul Clark, who's a sculptor, very, very competent, works in metal and wood and stone, and he's a wonderful Christian, a lovely Christian couple. And he, once again, it was an amazing story how we discovered. Actually, he came. Tim, are you concentrating? He came, I think, when you were at Tom and Eva's. Were you personally at Tom and Eva's?
No, I wasn't there.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, George was there, yeah. Anyway, when Through Faith Missions were at Tom and Eva's, he was, this chap was cooking bacon butties for everybody's breakfast. He didn't realise what it was about. And it was only as he was serving food and then got talking to the people there, it was a men's breakfast. And he thought, oh wow, this is something I'd love to be involved with. And someone else had actually given him a word of prophecy to say that he would be using his gifts for the Lord. So, you know, when he found out about us, he made contact with us. We had a lovely time with them. And we're hoping to actually commission him to do an artwork. I can't point from here. My stick was long enough. Right at the other end, just below St David's, you'll see a pointer down to a place called Solva. Some of you may know it if you know that bit of coast. Beautiful place. And we've got a dear couple. Once again, we have met them in an amazing way, and we've stayed with them every time we've been down there. We get treated like royalty. And he is a sort of small developer. He's a builder and does sort of a few houses at a time. And he's actually bought a neighbouring piece of land right on the coast at Solva, and it's right on the pathway that goes around the coast. And he wants us to have a little corner of that to put a waste station in, which is wonderful. And so what we're planning to do is to give Paul Clark the job of making that waste station there, right on the coastal path. So that's exciting, another thing to look forward to. We also had a wonderful time during that time with the Dean at St David's Cathedral. We have met her before a couple of times. She's an amazing lady. Used to be a diplomat. But we just had a wonderful time. We took the maquette with us. If you look at this table here, you can see the knight at rest here. That's another maquette of the same sculpture that we want to do there. They've given us an alcove in the cathedral, and we want to do a knight because the alcoves along there is not a knight. You know, like we've got in Banham Church, an effigy. But we want to use it as an instrument to share the verses in, first of all, in Ephesians about the armour of God, and do it in a sort of way that he is resting, having done, and we've got the crown there, and we want to actually write on that crown. We'll do it in English and Welsh, of course. There is laid up for me a crown of righteousness. I have fought the good fight. I have run the race, and I had a lovely time with the Dean in her office. You know, she was sitting there with her dog, and I'm not sure whether she had her slippers on, but it felt like that, and we had a lovely sort of heart-to-heart talk about it. When she saw the maquette, we've realised how important it is to make these little scale models of what we're doing, because many people don't read drawings, don't understand what we're talking about, and they see it in the flesh, and it was exactly the same for her. She saw it, she said, oh wow, that's beautiful. She said, some people come into this cathedral and they talk about when they die they're going to be in the stars, and you know, and she said, it'll be really lovely to have something that speaks of true faith in Jesus. And so, you know, we really felt that there was a heart-to-heart meeting there, so we were so greatly encouraged. So that was our job done at St David's, and we started on our way back, and we visited two places which must be over here somewhere. Brixworth in Northamptonshire, where we met with the people in the Anglican church there, but there's also apparently a really good live community church in that. It's only a village, but we'd like to connect with them as well as we possibly can. They're very keen to have a way station there. In the churchyard, which has got a public path that comes right through it. And then to Great Harrowden here, which is just north of Wellingborough. We've been working with Wellingborough for a long time, and that bench over there, which those of you that have been before, you've seen it before, because it's been here for about, I don't know, 4 years, I think. We've been waiting for, there's a church right here on the northwest corner of Wellingborough that's really grown and developed, and They had been given a piece of land to build a church, a worship centre, but then the whole of Wellingborough was an enormous housing development that's been added, and it actually takes them up to Great Harrowden. So this church that have been meeting in the school, because they've just outgrown the church building, have been given Great Harrowden Parish Church, a big building, to use, and it's going to be reordered and everything. So we met with Chris Gledhill, who has been given the responsibility of heading up the reordering process, and we're going to put that in the grounds there. So that would be really great. And finally, I just wanted to mention a few other things. We had a wonderful time with the Three Faith Missions team at Great Malton, where we've got a way station. And now we're right back in East Anglia somewhere. Where are we? Where's the A140? There it is. Great Malton. That was a situation rather like the situation at Little Stookley, Paul, where we had to move the way station, and it got plonked in the churchyard at Great Malton. We didn't really know the people there. Normally when we investigate, we meet the people, we talk to the church about the project, and sometimes we actually do the practical work together with the people in the locality. So we get to know them, and they're sort of added to the family, as it were. And in this case, it's a sort of situation where it was in the grounds of a guest house that was sold, and the new people didn't want the way station, so we brought it back here, did it up, and then sought to find somewhere else that we could put it in the locality. We were given a lovely place in the churchyard, a beautiful spot, but we didn't really get to know the people in the church. And we were there a month ago? Something like that, 3 or 4 weeks ago. And we had a wonderful weekend. We really got to know the people who were there. And it was a really encouraging time for us. And I hope that sometime we can do that at Little Stookley with the Government Baptist people. Because we just haven't really been able to engage with them. I don't know whether they think we're weird or something. We are actually.
They don't know that though.
So anyway, the other thing I wanted to mention is the financial situation. The Lord has been so good to us in providing for this. We have an auditor who audits our accounts every year, and he said he audits a lot of charities, and he said he's never seen anything like the support that we have for this project. And it's just amazing. The sculpture at Lower Scott cost us, was it something like 15 grand, I can't remember, to have that done for that sort of money. But the Lord has. And, it came in. It's just amazing. So anyway, we've got, if you want to look at the accounts, we've got them on the back bench there, together with a box if you want to share anything with us, that would be great. But I also want to say that our treasurer, Marion Playford, many of you will know her. I'm not sure how many years she's been treasurer for us. She's finding it too much. Obviously, the project has grown and become more complicated. So sadly, she couldn't be with us tonight, but they've got some visitors from Africa somewhere, I think. Where? Well, that's sort of wild place,
Oh, right, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, people that I haven't seen for years. And, sorry about that. Adam has made a lovely photo book of project and all the stuff and lunches and, events and things, for Marion. And we were hoping that people could. If you would like to write in it, we've written from the trustees a thanks in that, and hopefully we'll be able to add a big bunch of flowers to it to give to her. So please pray for the ongoing work of this project. The Lord is in it, and it's been an absolute joy to be part of it. It feels as though, you know, it was all there all the time, and we're just sort of peeling up of the old sellotape and revealing it. Oh yeah, just one more thing. You'll see these rails here with words on them, which is, we're making a bridge. Now, we don't normally do this kind of thing, the sort of hardware of the trail. But there's a particular point at Shippier Hill, near Sedge Fen, near Ely, this one here. I put a yellow dot on there. I wasn't sure what colour it ought to be, Adam, because it's not a way station. But the landowner has reluctantly given us permission to put a bridge over a neglected bridge that goes over a drainage, or walking drainage ditch. And on the drawings for it, I put, you know, the sort of standard comment, oak rails with carved detail. What he doesn't know is it's these words from Isaiah. Seek the Lord while he may be found, call upon him while he is near. So we're making this bridge, and you know, when it's in place, it will be in all but name. So,
Allegedly.
Yeah, so anyway, let's give thanks to the Lord for all of his goodness, and you know, it's just been great to share it with you. We could say an awful lot more, but I know time is pressing. I want to give